look at. And that is what we believe is going to happen here momentarily. So many people waiting for this moment. Like we've said, so many people wanted to be here, right here, when Charlie Kirk arrived in Phoenix. And so we are waiting to see.
Just to backtrack a little bit, yesterday we got the notice that the second family, Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife, were going to travel to Salt Lake City, and that's where they were going to visit with Charlie Kirk's family and a number of close friends, and then escort the body of Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated yesterday, 31 years old, while holding a forum at Utah Valley University. Shortly after noon. And then we knew that they were going to fly to Phoenix, and this is where Turning Point USA is headquartered, in Phoenix, Arizona. And so we've been awaiting this for some time, and earlier this morning, we started getting more information about timing, and they left Salt Lake City just a few hours ago. But as we've been tracking that plane, Air Force Two, we know that it has been moving quickly. And so we had estimated their arrival time at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. They made that in plenty of time before that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The Vice President J.D. Vance actually posted on X about 20 hours ago talking about the origin of his friendship with Charlie Kirk, and I'll read a little bit about that as we await the casket to be brought out of Air Force Two. But Vice President wrote a while ago, probably in 2017, I appeared on Tucker Carlson's show to talk about God knows what. Afterward, a name I barely knew sent me a DM on Twitter and told me I did a great job. It was Charlie Kirk, and that moment of kindness began a friendship that lasted until today.
And we know he became very good friends with President Donald Trump. We have some flowers leaving Air Force Two right now, being removed and definitely brought off that plane. But I was talking about this yesterday in the newsroom when President Donald Trump had one of his last campaign rallies here at Desert Diamond Arena. He spoke so highly of Charlie Kirk. In fact, when he took that stage, he couldn't say enough kind words about Charlie Kirk. And remember, Turning Point USA, they were the host of that event. But as I was mentioning to people yesterday, Charlie Kirk did speak at that event. He got loud applause, and people were, screaming his name and stuff. And immediately after leaving that stage, he had a crew of people, his security team, moving him through that arena, and people were going out of their way to shake his hand and meet him. And immediately after the rally, when the arena had already cleared out, he held his own mini rally with the people who he had gathered for that event, because he was known for reaching out to the younger generation and really supporting that ground game for President Trump, for people to get out the vote and get people registered.
Yeah, and as we continue to take a look at the casket being removed here from Air Force Two, being brought back to Arizona from Salt Lake City, Utah, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday. The thing that a lot of people are talking about is his willingness to go into what were sometimes hostile crowds and to, as you were saying, Javier, earlier, say, debate me. Let's have a debate about the ideas. And he was not afraid to go out there and take on people who had different opinions. Now, he had sometimes very controversial opinions himself. And, many people are vehemently opposed to some of the ideas that he supported and what he did. But certainly the events of yesterday were horrific all around.
We're going to watch as they remove this casket from Air Force Two, and it's hard to make out where they're headed or how they're going to bring it down. I would imagine some sort of lift. And so this is the first time we're seeing that casket in the body of Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated yesterday, 31 years old, leaves behind a wife, Erica, who is a former Miss Arizona, and two young kids.
Yeah, and that's have been one of the most difficult things to see is the images of the family together, some of the images that we've seen over the last day of one of his young children running up to him as he's being interviewed, and how much he loved and very clearly enjoyed having his family around him.
You were talking about the personal relationship he had and formed with Vance. And one of the things that kind of stood out was at one point, remember, Kurt as well as Vance, both kind of personally and politically, they were kind of skeptical about Donald Trump in 2016. And we know how that changed over time, and really Kurt being the driving force for getting President Donald Trump reelected.
Yeah, and Donald Trump Jr. also very active, obviously, on X, and talking about his reaction to all of this, talking a bit about his friend again, saying he wasn't just a friend, he was like a little brother to me and to millions of people around the world, a true inspiration, one of the most courageous, principled men I've ever known, and he lived every day with purpose. His faith in God was unshakable. His love for Erica, that's his wife, was inspiring, and the way he adored and cared for his two beautiful children showed the kind of man he truly is. The words of Donald Trump Jr., a close friend of Charlie Kirk's.
And people on the other side of the aisle speaking out against the political violence, saying there is no place in America for that political violence, for something like this to happen. Unfortunately, we've seen it over the past few years where it's only seemed to escalate.
On both sides of the aisle.
On both sides, absolutely. Absolutely,
Yeah.
on both sides. But, yesterday, the governor of Utah coming out and saying, guys, this is time to look in the mirror and really take a deep breath on how we want our future to look.
Yeah, and certainly freedom of speech, one of the founding principles of this nation. As you take a look there at the executive terminal and the flag flying at half staff with all those Secret Service agents there behind it.
Ashley, what are you seeing from your vantage point at this point?
Yeah, well, we just saw flowers that were being brought out of Air Force Two. We just saw the casket brought down, and now we are waiting for this procession to take place. Like I said, we've seen motorcycles preparing, Secret Service still stationed on the roof, watching everything that is taking place very, very carefully. And I do want to describe to you kind of the tone that is taking place here. Obviously, so many people wanted to see Air Force Two. They had their phones out and they were recording, and some of them still are, but you can feel that somberness and that sadness and that emotion here as all of this takes place, as people were seeing that casket taken out of Air Force Two and Charlie Kirk arriving back here in Arizona.
And Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk, I was just checking her social media accounts, and she has been posting Bible verses within the last day or two. Certainly their faith was a core component of their relationship, very strong in their faith.